Now let us discuss few experiments which were conducted on respiration in plants. The first experiment or the first phenomena that occurs in respiration is that oxygen is used up in the respiration and carbon dioxide is given during the process of respiration. To prove that yes, oxygen is used up in the process of respiration, we are conducting a small experiment. In this experiment, we will be taking two conical flasks. In both those conical flasks, a wet cotton is placed at the base of these conical flasks. On this wet cotton, in one flask you are placing a germinating seeds which are actually germinating right now. In the second stage, we are putting a dead beans which are not germinating, which are not at the stage of developing into a seedling, which are not germinating. The first case where germinating beans are present, we put a test tube which contains a soda lime. So what is soda lime? Soda lime is actually a mixture of sodium hydroxide. It is a mixture of sodium hydroxide plus slag lime. We take soda lime in both the test tubes in both the conical flasks and we hang these test tubes into these flasks. What is this soda lime is supposed to do? Actually this soda lime is absorbing all the carbon dioxide that is produced, because I told you that oxygen is taken up by the seeds to germinate. However, carbon dioxide is actually given out in both the processes. So whatever the carbon dioxide will be given out, it will be absorbed by the soda lime so that carbon dioxide can be easily removed from both the flasks. Now what I am going to do here is I want to prove that yes, oxygen is necessary. Once you have conducted this experiment, you are here to prove that after some time what are you going to observe, that in both these cases, this is a tube which is actually connected with the supply of water. This which conical flask A, it has a high level of water. It has a high level of water, but this flask 2, it has a very low level of water. So what do you mean by these two levels? This means that flask A is using more and more water. Why is it using more and more water? Because it is at the stage of germinating, so it needs more water. So this point is very clear that yes, it needs water. So this level of water is rising up in this tube. However, the level of water is not rising up in the second tube because dead beans, they do not require water. They are not at the stage of germinating, so water is not required. But water is required here, so the level of water is rising in the tube first. The second point which is to be noticed that now what you do, you put a burning paper into both these flasks. Whenever you put a burning paper, I am using a burning paper and I am putting this burning paper into flask A. What I see that this burned fire is actually eventually put off by the flask. So whenever you put a burning paper, it is instantly put off. It is instantly put off in flask A. However, it burns for some time. Whenever you put a paper here, it burns for some time in flask 2. So how can you differentiate that a paper you have put here, that is combustion is occurring? So in this process, it is instantly put off whenever you put this inside this flask A. But whenever you put it in flask B, it burns for some time and later on it is put off. So what is the difference? This means that if it is instantly put off, that means oxygen is absent in these cases. However, oxygen is present in these cases which allow it to burn for some time. So how oxygen is absent in these cases? This means that only difference you took in two flasks was one you took germinating seeds and in other you took dead beans. So that means that germinating seeds are using up that oxygen and not able to provide this oxygen in the conical flask or provide this oxygen to the burning paper. So that's why this burning paper is instantly put off because of lack of oxygen in flask A and presence of oxygen in B. So this means that these seeds actually require oxygen for germination. So this is first phenomena which occurs in respiration, is very clear that oxygen is used up in the respiration.